How many of you are not MIS majors? Good. I was hoping the majority would be non-MIS majors. Let me ask you a question. I'm Dr. Barnes, by the way. Have you thought about your future after graduation? Meaning, specifically, is your major that you're majoring in now in demand? Is it going to be easy for you to get a job? Or have you even thought about it? You know, now is the time to be researching your career, especially if you're a second semester junior, first semester senior. Am I going to be able to get a job that pays more than minimum wage? That is one of the things that I want to talk about in this presentation today. I want to tell you about the program that I'm a part of, that I created many years ago in the Department of Information Systems and Analysis. And the name of that program is Management Information Systems, which is in great demand. And I have facts to back that statement up. Everybody says their majors are going to pay them a lot of money and they're going to have a lot of interviews and be able to get a lot of job offers. That's not really true, especially if your major is not in the STEM area. What does STEM stand for? Science, technology. Let's just take it in the sequence of the acronyms. Technology. MIS is in that T area. Engineering, and what's the M? Math. This one is in the T area, technology. We offer a BBA in MIS, and we also offer a minor in MIS. And that's what I want to tell you about in terms of our curriculum, the kinds of jobs our students are getting, the salaries that they're making, and good things like that, so that you can have some insight if you decide maybe to pick up a second major or pick up the minor or change your major. So, what is MIS? I know it stands for Management Information Systems, but what does that mean? I had to explain that to a former dean when I put this program in many, many years ago. It took me 2 hours to get it through as to what it is. Very simply stated, we're using technology to solve business problems. What are business problems? The problems revolve around 4 hot trends that are occurring in every business today. You happen to know what those trends are? We teach them in our curriculum, starting in the MISSI 3310 class. Cloud computing. You heard of that? If you've taken the MISSI 3310, you should know about that. That's a hot trend. We need technology people to help with that. Everything is in the cloud. The servers, the software, especially in terms of all this infrastructure that we have in every business, from the database to the website, to the hardware, to the networks, which would be hardware and software, to the data. It all revolves around providing information to managers for decision making. That's one trend. What are the other 3? Mobile, social. Social what? That's right. And what industry people call big data. In our curriculum, we refer to that as business intelligence. And see, we teach all 4 of those concepts and actually do hands-on application, learning what those concepts mean. And that's why our students are in such great demand. So I want to take you through, we're getting to the curriculum, but this is just an example of how anybody can use technology to get that information. See, that information is that critical conceptual resource that every everybody, not just managers, everybody in a business, every student in a university. You needed information about what courses you're going to be taking and when they're offered for the summer and next fall. That's information. It's meaningful, and you got to go get it. And how do you register? You go online to our website, or maybe you do what I do periodically. You get online, reserve a flight, compare prices, book your flight, print out your boarding pass before you ever get to the airport. And all of those steps of the process save you so much time and money. We couldn't get by without our technology in our business world. And we need employees and managers who can implement it, maintain it, use it, set it up for others to support their information requirements. Many times during the course of advising through the years, students will ask, what is the difference between your MIS curriculum and what they offer across campus called CIS, Computer Information Systems? So we thought it would be nice if you had that same concern to compare how we differ. Okay, our focus in MIS is in business. Everybody works in some type of business. Theirs is in developing software. We use software over here, but our top priority is not to create it, code it. Theirs is. Our objective is to run a more efficient and effective business. Setting up that infrastructure, providing that information to the managers who need it for decision making. Their focus and objective is to make sure that they have a reliable computer program that works, that's been debugged. Our core skill that we teach over here in every class is problem solving, how to solve those problems that technology can help solve, as I mentioned earlier. Theirs is on understanding and knowing the logic and procedures to write the code for the software, which is still a good skill. It's a great skill. Our core task, we are trying to determine what the business requirements are for that information that they need. That's a critical part of what we teach. Theirs is to deliver the information systems to meet those defined requirements. In other words, they've coded the program, they've set it up, they've gotten the user requirements from what we give them as an entry-level job title called Systems Analyst. And the programmer develops it and gives it to the end user. Our starting title would be something comparable to this, Business Systems Analyst. In your major that you have right now, you need to be focusing on that. What is the starting job title in your field? You have to start doing some research. You also need that listed on your resume. Theirs is application programmer. There's an entry-level position. Our career goals are leading all the way up to senior management, maybe even the chief information officer. And see, our focus, MIS is such a broad field of study that we expose you to a portion of it, but once you start working in your career, you settle on a niche. And some of the niches that you'll be learning throughout the curriculum, something like networking, maybe you really get into implementing and maintaining security and adding users to a network. Every business uses a network. Or maybe your niche would be database administration. Every company maintains a database. We teach a lot of database applications, starting with what you learned in the 1373 that everybody takes access. And you'll see some of the software as I get further along into this that involves using the database. Or web design. That's a niche. Or ERP consulting. That's a niche. What is ERP? We talk about that all the time in all these courses that I'm about to show you. Enterprise Resource Planning. What the heck is that? A brand name is SAP, but in terms of, it's an application software that is organizational-wide. That's why we call it enterprise, meaning the entire organization that everybody uses, that's linking all of the processes, integrating all of the business processes together to make that company more efficient, lower their costs, provide better customer service. It's in great demand. That is a tremendously important niche. But you get the idea. I've named several niches. And that's what gives our program the flexibility based on your aptitude, your knowledge base, your likes and dislikes. We know they don't always have a job because computers and the internet are not going away, aren't they? No. And we need people to know how to use them, to know how to implement them, to maintain and secure them, and to set up those databases and to create those reports to give to managers containing that information. And then, of course, we're located in the College of Business, and they're located in Arts and Sciences. They had been in engineering until a few years ago when they reorganized. So that is the difference between the two programs. Okay, what we see here is our complete core curriculum for this MIS degree. We have 21 hours of required courses and 2 courses, 6 hours of electives. As I said, when I created this program many years ago, I've seen it evolve through several changes. We've kept up with the technology advancements, with the software advancements, and have gone through several different versions of software that you probably never even heard of. But what we are offering in these classes now is current, state-of-the-art, and in great demand. We don't teach anything that employers aren't demanding from our students. That's why they're getting jobs, because we have customized this curriculum to fit job requirements. And that's what it takes to get a job. You've got to have some skills, you got to know something, and you've got to have gone through a program that is going to open your eyes to a lot of things in this field. Everybody, regardless of your major in the College of Business, takes this first class, Missy 3310, Principles of MIS. In that class, a portion of it is devoted to the teaching of SAP. The prerequisite to that class that you've already taken before you get to the 3310 is Missy 1373. That is not a part of our core, okay? It is required out of the business core for every business student. It is a prerequisite to take the 3310. That's a very good class. Missy 3340 is IS infrastructure. Essentially, that is our networking class. But infrastructure sounds impressive, and it does encompass the infrastructure of a network, right? And we have a certified network Cisco administrator who teaches that class for us. She's excellent. So you learn from an expert in terms of what do we need to know about networking. Because see, we only cover one chapter about networking in the Missy 3310 class. Just the top of it, the easy part. You have to go into more depth about that TCP IP structure that makes up the network called the Internet. All right, Missy 3350 or 3360. Well, lately it's been the 3360 that we've been teaching. The 3350 is Java programming, and we really don't have a Java teacher on our staff, so we are teaching Visual Basic. The students prefer that anyway because it's a lot easier application program. That's the only programming class we require. 3360. And then the Missy 3370, the analysis and design, excellent class where you learn to determine what those user requirements are. I mentioned that earlier. This is Dr. Bandy's class. It's offered only in the fall. Very important class. Then the Missy 4370 that Dr. Ghosh teaches is one of our best SAP courses because the whole semester is devoted in this class, the ERP overview, to learning several SAP modules. You learn the sales and distribution module in the freshman class. You learn the materials management purchasing modules in the Missy 3310. You learn about 6 or 8 more in the 4370. And that class is the best prep class to get you ready for those who have the necessary prerequisites to take the TERP 10 2-week seminar we offer every May that Dr. Ghosh will speak to you about in a few minutes. That is the best class to get ready to pass that certification exam. The Missy 4380 is essentially our capstone course, IS development. What you have created and designed using some of the software I'm going to show you coming up. In the 3370 class, you put it on the internet in that capstone course, and that is Dr. Bandy's course. IS development, only offered in the spring. And then the Missy 4350, IS project management, where you would learn Microsoft Project, and that is Dr. Ghosh's class, only offered in the spring. That's a very good class. And then our 2 electives, Missy 4390, business intelligence. I mentioned that term a while ago. Can any of the MIS majors tell me what that is? What is BI? Who are the MIS majors? Raise your hand. You didn't raise your hand. Tell us, can you tell us what BI is? You know? Can anybody tell me? Who's taking it?
I think it is.
Okay.
It would be business intelligence would encompass all the information such as prices, people you're working with, other companies, everything you need to know to run your company.
Let me clarify that just a little bit. It's partly true. We're gathering a lot of information from a lot of different sources, primarily external sources. You're getting information about the economy. You're getting information about your competitors, about your customers, about your suppliers, and you're bringing all that external information in and coupling it with what you've already gathered internally that's stored in that database. And when we bring in all of that external information, we create what is called a data warehouse. See, all these terms we teach in the 3310 class that are really important, especially if you're an MIS major. You got to remember this stuff because this is part of the nuts and bolts of working in IT. So it's a massive amount. A while ago I mentioned the trend of big data that we've brought in through multiple sources, and now we're doing multi-dimensional analysis, trying to make sense of what all that means, where we're teaching you this with SAP in this class to learn to do that. It's so much we can't visualize it with just the naked eye. We've got to do some sophisticated analysis to have it make sense. And this is a hot trend. There's huge demand for people who understand this concept and can actually work with it and create and tap all those sources and then run all of the things that you'll be taught in that 4390 class to get those reports that management needs. And then the 3395 class is another SAP class that we call ERP e-commerce, and I bet several of you have already taken that. Okay, 21 hours in the core, and then the 2 electives. Here is the software we teach, some of which you may have never heard of before, but that is in great demand out there, as I said earlier. I've already mentioned SAP, the variety of modules. What is Oracle?
It's a company and
Another version of
What kind of
SAP.
software, though? It is a company. On its stock. Go ahead.
business software, databases.
That's right, databases. It's a primary database supplier. It competes with SAP, not in the database world, but in the ERP world. It started out originally as a database, and then it went out and bought all these other companies that would enable it to provide ERP capabilities just like SAP. We teach it as a database in the 4380 class in there. Okay? And Dreamweaver, well, Dr. Mandy teaches that, and that's going to be in the 4380 class too. And Tableau, which is going to give you a visual, graphical representation. That is in great demand, that Tableau. And we teach it. And then in the MISTI 3370, that systems analysis and design, we teach a CASE tool, computer-aided software engineering is what that acronym stands for, called Visible Analyst, where you create those entity diagrams and the data flow charts, and you're showing the relationships between the entities. Visual Basic, I mentioned, that's the programming language. Microsoft Project, that is taught in the MISTI 4350 class. And then, of course, everybody knows Microsoft Office. Use that in just about everything. So that is our repertoire of software. Here are some of the careers of our students who have already graduated with this major. What kind of jobs they hold: SAP business analysts, consultants, systems analysts, database administrators, web designers, project management interns, customer support specialists. These are just a few. It's not all of them. Many more than that. And I thought you might be interested in this table. Here we are showing the firms employing our MIS graduates, their job titles in the first column, how many students have been recruited and hired, the company that's hired them. CSC is both in Falls Church, Virginia, and the big place is over in Clear Lake. They are a contractor to NASA. Everybody's heard of Hewlett-Packard. We've got students working in Plano and Houston for Hewlett-Packard. XAPT Corporation in Miami, Turner Industries, Port Arthur, Academy, and you can read all the way down, TNO. I talk about them a lot in my classes. TNO stands for The New Office, and they are a consulting firm, a cloud consulting firm in Austin. And really, those numbers need to be updated because they hire.
This is just one semester data.
Okay. Totally, they've hired 7 of our MIS graduates at TNO. And it's like, golly, he's going to hire all of our program, all of our graduates in this program. We're going to have a little Lamar Alumni Day and celebrate their success working and making lots of money. Here are their salaries, their ranges, and you see none of them are lower than $40,000. Most of them are going to make more than that. Check out your major that you're in now, do some research, and you find the job title, and find out what the salary range would be for that job title.
Tell them to take a green sheet.
Oh yeah. This has some additional salary information. I passed this out in my class. The screen sheet, if you didn't get it when you came in, get it on the way out. Get all of these sheets up here if you don't have any of them. This will give you more insight. So the jobs are out there, and the ones that are making up here, can you believe that? 80 to 85,000? What would cost that entry-level job for a 25-year-old who's never worked full-time to go out and get that salary? She was certified. She passed the TURP 10 certification, SAP certification, which automatically increases that salary range about 10 grand, 10 to 15 grand, as you can see. So the demand is there, the jobs are there, the flexibility in terms of which niche you could go into. This degree or this minor, the major or the minor, goes with all of these fields. It's especially related to accounting. We've had, through the years, several students who majored both in accounting and MIS. And that doubled the number of offers that they got. And some of them went the SAP route. In fact, out of the accountants that had been interviewed, these students are telling me, he was the only one who knew SAP. See, Lamar, Beaumont is one of the few schools in our area that even teach this. And so he had that competitive advantage. He had 5 job offers. Wouldn't you like to have that? He had that double major. Goes with any of these majors. All right, let's say, well, I don't want to pick up the major. I'll go for the minor. 18 hours for the minor. These 4 classes, you've already taken or will have taken the 3310 anyway, right? It's a business core as well as an MIS core. So you've got that one down. And then the 3340, the networking, the IS infrastructure, the 3370, that systems analysis class, and the 4370, the ERP overview. And then you would choose 2 electives out of these 4. Would give you the minor. See, the minor doesn't show up on your diploma. The major does. Sometimes that makes a difference. And we have lots of, as I mentioned earlier, jobs and internships. We post all of our internship offerings and our job offerings on our Facebook page. Everybody uses Facebook, right? It's called MIS Lamar. Check it out. It's a group. If you don't believe us, go look at all the jobs. We have more jobs than we have students to fill them. We have many other scholarships provided in the College of Business too, as well. I'm on the scholarship committee, and sometimes we have more scholarship money than we have students who have applied. Can you imagine that? We want to give this money away. Nobody wants it.
What was that Facebook page again?
MIS Lamar. MIS Lamar. Okay, I am going to let Dr. Ghosh continue from this point and tell you about, in a little bit more detail, about our SAP portion of our curriculum and the TURP 10 test.
Thank you, Dr. Barnes. I'm Dr. Ghosh, and I'll be talking about SAP because I primarily teach SAP courses. So Dr. Barnes has already touched upon the importance of SAP, especially we are in the geographic location of Lamar is such that there are a lot of companies that are using SAP. And if you see the second bullet point, it says 46,000 companies in more than 120 countries use SAP. So SAP is a software that's used worldwide. Not only in the United States, North America, it's used worldwide, Europe, Asia. And we have, our program is one of the programs that emphasizes a lot on SAP. Our graduates get jobs because they're well trained in SAP, they get good jobs, as Dr. Barnes was talking about. Now, just to be, emphasize the fact that locally around the Beaumont area, the Houston, Port Arthur area, there are a lot of petrochemical industry companies, big oil companies, petrochemical companies that use SAP, and they want our graduates because they are well trained in SAP. We want to emphasize that the fact that our students are trained in these courses, the SAP courses, their market value, their salary, their demand is always high when they go and apply for jobs in the job market. Now, these are some of the SAP or the SAP courses that are taught. So, when you're in the College of Business, first exposed to SAP in MISI 3310, I'm sure most of you have taken MISI 3310 and have been exposed to the SAP module, the purchasing module. Well, once you become a MIS major, you go more in-depth into SAP, try to understand what the software does, how does it enable business processes, how does it make businesses more efficient. So that is in MISI 4370, where you're taught various modules of SAP. And this is also a course where you are kind of given a training, if you will, how to prepare for the Turk 10 certification that Dr. Bonds was talking about. Now, just to reiterate her point, Turk 10, if you're Turk 10 certified, it raises your ability to get a job by 20 to 30%. It raises your salary by $10,000–$15,000, and these are just these are numbers that are not random. There's the statistics out there. Then you have MISI 3395 talk by our department chair, Dr. Bandy, where you are taught SAP NetWeaver and the Visual Composer. And then in MISI 4390, it's the Business Intelligence course that is, and Dr. Bonds was talking about big data. Today, most companies talk about big data. In today's day and age, getting data is not the problem. To understand data, how to use that data to improve business. So, for example, Amazon. Most of you sure know Amazon, eBay. They have billions of customers, millions and billions of customers. So, what do they do with that much data? How do they use that to improve their business? How do they, increase their performance? That's part of business intelligence. Get the information, understand the information, and utilize that information to improve your business, improve your products, improve your customer satisfaction. So, to sum, here we have these SAP courses, and these SAP courses will train you very well to be able to not only take the Turk 10, but also to get a job as an SAP analyst and be successful as a SAP person. Now, just to make sure that you understand that how important SAP is in our curriculum, is that once you have 9 hours of SAP, you're automatically given a recognition award, a certificate that you have 9 hours of SAP training. Now, this is, I just want to clarify here, this is different from Turk 10. A lot of students have this notion that you complete 9 hours and you get Turk 10 certified. No, that's not the case. 9 hours, you complete SAP, you get a certificate from our department, from Lamar. However, those 9 hours qualify you to take the Turk 10 exam. And once you pass the Turk 10 exam, that's when you're Turk 10 certified. And then, like Dr. Bonds and I was mentioning, that increases your marketability. Turk 10 is a highly intensive program. It's usually conducted in our campus. May of every year, Ms. Liz Simmons, who helps us with our SAP courses, she conducts a camp of 15 days, and then you take the exam. If you pass it, then it's a great. The other thing I wanted to point out is to get Turk 10 certified, it costs you $5,500. However, because Lamar is an SAP Alliance school, and when you are part of Lamar, you're enrolled at Lamar, you only pay $500 to be Turk 10 certified, to appear for the exam. So it's 1/10 of the price you would pay if you were not a Lamar student. So it's a lot of $5,000 a lot of money, and you're just paying 1/10 of that. So just to make sure that you take a note of that too. Then we are very active on Facebook. As a matter of fact, Dr. Bonds mentioned MIS Lamar is our group. We not only this is not a Facebook page just for communicating with students, but we post jobs, internships, and a lot of our students find it very helpful, because the moment a job comes up, a job opportunity comes up, it's posted on Facebook page. Students can go in there, ask for details, call up our faculty, know more about the job, etc., etc. Also, we are on LinkedIn. How many of you have heard about LinkedIn? Well, it's basically the Facebook version for professionals. So, and you must have heard of it. It's basically what you do is you kind of post your resume and you let others know, what you do, what your qualifications are, where you work. And a lot of people find jobs just through LinkedIn. And like I said, we are both on Facebook and LinkedIn. And of course, last but not the least, if you need to contact us, our department chair's number and email ID is on here. She's always available. All our faculty are very accessible. You can call us or email us anytime. And of course, you're encouraged to bring your parent or a guardian on the day of your appointment because, just to make sure that they understand your goals and you understand where you're going with your career. Okay? Having said that, I'm going to hand over to one of our very successful students, Jennifer, who's been through our program, and she will talk about how it's helped her in her current job. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good morning. Let's see, I graduated from Lamar 2 years ago, in May 2012. And I've been currently working for Jacobs Engineering since then. So I was recently sitting where y'all were sitting. So let's see, they gave me a cheat sheet. I'm not the best public speaker. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about Jacobs. We have a local office here, and then we have one in Baton Rouge, Baytown, Houston, and we employ over 70,000 employees, and we also have global locations in 230 countries. We are currently in an alliance here with ExxonMobil. We basically do all of our engineering work and cost work for ExxonMobil in the Beaumont refinery, the chem plant, and then the BPAT plant out on Highway 90. Let's see. So currently I'm a cost analyst, and I never would have thought that working at an engineering firm that I would do anything that related to my career, but every day. I'm in SAP continuously. That's all that we use from writing our purchase requisitions to, let's see, our cost tracking reports. All are done in SAP. Our month-end reporting is done in SAP. And I also maintain the asset ledger in SAP. So any fixed assets that come in and out of the refinery, I track through the asset ledger. So I'm continuously, that's all, I use it all day long. Let's see. Each project in the refinery is built in SAP, and it has a structure that we build and we track. So from beginning to end, we use SAP to build these projects, add the money, add the budget, distribute, create the purchase requisitions to various vendors, and then close out the project. And we use month-end reportings to close out the projects. And like I said, everything is done in SAP. And I know from being in the petrochemical industry that from here, let's see, all the Gulf region uses SAP. That no one that I know of uses anything different to maintain their systems. And Exxon, being a worldwide company, that's what they use. And so it's very, very, very marketable to have these skills. Actually, when I came to this alliance, this position was not, no one was in this position. So this was kind of created, and they wanted someone that had, the SAP skills to build this. So now instead of, it started with me, now there's 4 other people in the past 2 years that have come into this position because it's grown. And Exxon and Jacobs is continuing to grow with each other. We're taking on tons of new projects this year. And then also, I work in the project controls division, so there's 2 aspects of that. Since I do the cost part, there's also tracking of the projects from beginning to end. And we use SAP to do that because we have to begin it and end it, but someone's got to track it all the way through. And since all of our costs are in there, we run that every month, and we have to go into meetings and let everybody know if we're good or we're bad. But I mean, I wouldn't be where I am in the past 2 years that I have been without my degree. And you can use it locally and think outside the box, because like I said, I never would have guessed that an engineering firm would have such a big staple in my career. So. Any questions? Okay.
Did they train you some more once you got hired?
No. Like I said, no one was in there in the position before. So basically, the project coordinators or project engineers who were in the BAP Alliance were doing all of their stuff themselves. And I asked them bits and pieces of questions, and then I just really got in there and did it myself.
Was this job that Jacobs, did you find it on our MIS Lamar page?
No, actually, I started applying in January. I started applying for several jobs at a time. I want to say it was Indeed.com where I found Jacobs at.
I really enjoyed when you shared with me your knowing SAP, how it attracted people to you in the sense that other colleagues would come to you for help.
Yes.
Because you were the one knowing SAP.
Yes.
Can you share that with
So
us?
no one, like I said, all the project coordinators were doing everything themselves, and everybody was doing it a different way. Nobody really had any clue what they were doing. They just got from point A to point B. So a lot of them come to me for help, ask me questions. I put together several training guides that we use throughout the Alliance with Jacobs and ExxonMobil. So in case we're not there, that they don't mess up the system.
What the name of it was, the certification they talked about that was in May. Did you get that certification?
No, I did not get the certification. I'm kicking myself in the butt for not getting the certification, but I actually got hired on actually when the certification was going on, so in May. At the end of I graduated and I went right into my job, so I would go back and get it.
I have a question. I'm not really sure who could really answer this, but if you minor in MIS, can you still get the certification?
As long as you take those 3 courses. Missy 1373 does not count as one of the 3 courses.
Okay.
Anything above that, 3310, 3395, 4390, 4370.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
You can, actually what happens is top 10 is very intense, okay? It's a 10-day training.
Boot camp,
and
what I call it.
Yes, it's like 9 to 4, and on the 10th day is the exam. So the more courses with SAP you have, better your chances of being successful, okay? But generally we expect that you would have at least 3 courses, including 4370, which basically we don't want you to appear for the test and fail, We really want you to be prepared well so that you can pass it. And these courses, they just prepare you for taking the boot camp and then, being successful. That's basically it. So the more the merrier. Okay?
I have one last question. So do you have any advice for students who are looking for jobs, like interviewing advice or?
Don't get discouraged. I interviewed several times, went through interview processes. Just go in there and know your skills. I mean, if you're not comfortable with one thing versus the other, don't market that. Market yourself in what you feel comfortable with. I'm not the best at some of the softwares that we used in class. Visual Basic, no. But SAP, I enjoy it and I felt comfortable, so I used that as my tool. So, but just don't be nervous. I mean, the people that are interviewing you, they know that you want a job, but they're seeing tons of other people. Just try to make yourself stand out, and get on a personal level with them as well.
I was going to ask, you said you have gone through a lot of interviews, right? and you are a MISI major. Okay, so what specific questions were most companies interested in asking you? What specific information were they interested in obtaining from you?
They definitely want to know your skills. In our senior level classes, we did some, I can't remember now, but we did a database and it's linked into my resume. They asked me questions about that.
Basically, I think they ask you to go through the resume.
Right, basically.
You're just,
yeah, they have it in front of you, but they want to make sure that you know what you're talking about. And one of the interviews that I went through was completely different. They just, we talked on a more personal level, so I guess it just depends on who's interviewing you. I did 4 separate interviews in one day with 4 separate people, and each person was different. But, you know, you just have to go in there and just be calm and be prepared for anything.
just to add on to Jennifer's, we do prepare students for interviewing. So when you have an interview scheduled for you, you can always come and meet with one of the teachers, and that person, generally I do it. If I'm not available, somebody else can do it. Can walk you over all the possible questions, your skills that you have learned in class. We also have documents prepared to show you your skills that you may have forgotten from the past. So we do a lot of prepping. So do not worry about that. Basically, at this stage, your goal would be to learn as much as you can, to expand your knowledge, to know the things, and then we will prepare you for interviewing, for facing the challenges. Okay?
When you said objectives, this position you have now didn't exist before you came on with it. During the interview, did the person who interviewed you ask you any questions about SAP or things like that?
Yes.
Oh, we will call it that.
Yes, it is.
No, yeah, it's, yes. The Alliance in Baton Rouge had the position. He was not from the Alliance in Baton Rouge, but he did ask me, several questions about SAP because he really didn't know anything about it, to be completely honest with you. From his division that he worked in, Jacob's up in the project controls division in the department where my manager is. They use Oracle a lot, so which is another program that we're used to. So, but down where I am, I say that we're separated by floors. I use SAP. So.
How particular were these companies interested in internships? Were they really interested in internships or co-ops? Did those help you out a lot in your career?
I would say from an engineering standpoint, yes, they do the internships. I don't think that in our project controls division we do any internships. I could ask them. I don't see why we
have
couldn't.
the internships listed on our MIS Lamar. But you need to be far enough in the curriculum and have enough skills to qualify for the internship.
Excuse me, without getting into any specifics, do you make enough money to pay the mortgages?
Yes, and an entry-level position. I started out 2 years ago, and I started out at $50,000 a year. And I didn't know. Like I said, no one was in there. So, yeah. Now, when we contract for ExxonMobil, and we're also we're at Mativa. We have a local office here. Like I said, we're everywhere. We even have the alliance with ExxonMobil in Singapore. So.
Jacobs is worldwide.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're worldwide. It just depends on if we have the engineering part or the construction part because we're two different industries that are combined together. So we have a contract with NASA. So.
Are you going to come back and take more from us?
I guess I could start my MBA, huh?
Grants and take more students from us.
Well, no, you could, we actually, I do know that Project Controls is looking for some estimators, which is what I was talking about from where you track the project from the beginning to the end. we're taking on, like I said, some really large projects. I know we just, there's a $35 million project that.
Let us know if you need
Yeah.
more, okay?
Yeah,
We have some people who are graduating.
we're growing. We're definitely growing with the Alliance in this area, so for sure.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jennifer.
Hi, my name is Juan, and I'm the president of the AIS club at Lamar. And right here, we're gonna have a little QR code if you want to get some, if you want us to email you about the club and what we're all about. Basically, we have a Facebook page like the MIS group. We like to share the posts that they post about internships there, and people go on there, like alumni, and talk about how they have jobs and how they're looking and how much they enjoy it. So yeah, if you scan it, it'll pull up a little Google Docs form, and it'll ask for your name and your email address. And I don't want to make anyone late to class.
You want to mention this?
Yeah, and we're going to be having a little get together at the bowling alley. Yes.
What is your Facebook page? What's the?
AIS Lamar. Yeah.
So this is basically the on-campus association for information systems. So this is our professional organization. All students, MIS students, they are, even if you are not MIS, you can join, but it is primarily for MIS students. You need a place to hang out, to do community services, also, to network. So
Looks
it's
good
a
on
very
the
good.
resume.
Yeah, very good.
So I would encourage all of you to join that.
You had a question?
Oh, she basically
Okay.
answered.
And there's an officer here, but everyone else had class or just couldn't make it, they had to work. So, any questions?
We bring this up on our computers at the house to what with?
Oh, you can pull it up on your smartphone, or you can just sign a little piece of paper right here. We also have pen and paper. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.